Please take a look now at the Wings of the Heart, page 239, article entitled Take Step 11. And if you have a copy of the book and your neighbor doesn't, you might want to share with them. Now this article by Bill is highly instructive, and it clearly hits some points that we need to know and remember. For one thing, there's a common fallacy around the rooms. I don't know where in the hell it came from, that step 10 is step 11, or step 11 is step 10. There are two inventories in the big book, the 10th and the 11th step. The 10th step inventory is taken during the day. It's a spot check inventory of things that are happening as we go through our day. The 11th step inventory is taken at night, and it reviews our day, but it also reviews where we have gotten off the path and where we may have stumbled a little bit.
Tim, I have a question on this. On the 10th step, I know that it's a spot check throughout the day, and if I'm wrong, I have to promptly admit it to and make amends immediately. But where is the written inventory of the 10th step? I don't believe there is one, is there?
When we, thank you, Howard, when we were back at the 4th step, the big book instructed us that an inventory must be taken in writing. And that rule has never changed. The 10th step is an inventory. We learn in the 4th step that we take an inventory in writing. It's ridiculous to try to take inventory in your head. It ain't going to work. One of the main reasons for that is that we get all twisted up in our own thinking. We start thinking about what may have happened during the day, and then we start thinking of excuses for it. Then our mind wanders off to this and that, and we never do get it done. If anybody's sitting right over there, John, you're sitting there next to the John, you're sitting right next to the dial up above you on your left, on your right. Will you turn that around so we have air in here, please? All the way around.
Air or no air?
Just air. Just all the way around. So the 11th step is also an inventory. An inventory is always in writing. Don't try and take an inventory in your head. For goodness sakes, if you had a shoe store and you were in the back to take inventory of your stock and trade, you try to do it in your head. And how much more important is it for us to know what's going on with us? In any event, the 11th step inventory is something which is there on page 86. It's 10 questions. It's very important, and most people don't even know it's there. So Bill is talking about that right now. Let's go down to the bottom of the page. The last partial paragraph. Nevertheless, I think I've usually been able to make a fairly thorough and searching job of finding and admitting my personal defects. So far as I know, there isn't at this moment a single defect or current problem of mine which hasn't been discussed with my close advisors. Yet this pretty well ventilated condition is nothing for self-congratulation. Long ago I was lucky enough to see that I'd have to keep up my self-analysis or else blow my top completely. Though driven by stark necessity, this continuous self-revelation to myself and to others was rough medicine to take. But years of repetition had made this job far easier. Step 9, making restitution for harms done, has fallen into much the same bracket. Now, from here on for the rest of this page, Bill is going to be instructing us with respect to what happens to those of us who don't work the 11th step, or who let it slip. Maybe having once started and then we back off on it. Let's see what he says. In step 12, carrying the aid message to others, I found little else than great joy. We Alkies are folks of action, and I'm no exception. When action pays off, as it does in AA, it's a small wonder step 12 is the most popular, and for most of us, the easiest one of all. This little sketch of my own Pilgrim's Progress is offered to illustrate where I, and maybe lots of other AAs, have still been missing something of top importance. Through lack of disciplined attention, and sometimes through lack of the right kind of faith, Many of us keep ourselves year after year in the rather easy spiritual kindergarten I've just described. But almost invariably we become dissatisfied. We have to admit we have hit an uncomfortable and maybe very painful sticking point. 12-stepping, talking at meetings, recitals of drinking histories, confessions of our defects and what progress we have made with them no longer provide us with the released and abundant life. Our lack of growth is often revealed by an unexpected calamity or a big emotional upset. Perhaps we hit the financial jackpot and are surprised that this solves almost nothing, but we are still bored and miserable notwithstanding. We usually don't get drunk on these occasions. Our bright-eyed friends tell us how well we're doing. But inside, we know better. We know we aren't doing well enough. We still can't handle life as life is. There must be a serious flaw somewhere in our spiritual practice and development. What then is it? The chances are better than even that we shall locate our trouble in our misunderstanding or neglect of AA Step 11, prayer, meditation, and the guidance of God. The other steps can keep most of us sober and somehow functioning. But Step 11 can keep us growing if we try hard and work at it continually. If we expend even 5% of the time on Step 11 we habitually and rightly lavish on Step 12, results can be wonderfully far-reaching. That is an almost uniform experience of those who constantly practice Step 11. I know from my own experience that this is absolutely true. And a lot of times I have people come to me who have been around for a long time. And they're feeling bad, they're not doing well, they're running around with untreated alcoholism, they can't figure out what the problem is. They've been sober a long time, they've probably got people they're trying to sponsor, and maybe they get into meetings and they're AA politicians and they're doing all this trusted servant stuff, and yet they feel terrible. And the first question I ask them is, when did you stop working Step 11? Every time it's exactly the same thing. Now Step 11 is not optional. As a matter of fact, Step 11 contains 3 of the 5 essential tools of recovery. And as a matter of fact, it amalgamates all the rest. Step 11 is a cosmos of steps and a cosmos of spiritual recovery. And when we ignore it, we've ignored almost everything we've learned. A lot of people think, for example, that meditation is a take it or leave it situation. No. Meditation is not optional. It's a part of our recovery. It's one of the main tools of recovery. And we remember back in the 2nd chapter when it talks about that simple kit of spiritual tools laid at our feet. That simple kit of spiritual tools contains inventory and admission and submission to God and making amends. But it also contains prayer and meditation and working with others. The 10th, 11th, and 12th steps. These are the steps that we use to continue to grow spiritually. It has to be understood that it's axiomatic that if we do not grow spiritually, we go. We can't stand still. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God. By the time we reach the 11th step, we've entered the world of the Spirit and we've become God conscious. We've developed a vital 6th sense. When we've been restored to sanity. But that's not going to do us a particle of good if we don't continue to grow spiritually. And we do that by working the 11th step and the 12th step. And the 11th step tells us this point blank, that we alcoholics are undisciplined. We have to let God discipline us in this way. Take it as gospel. The 11th step is essential to continued sobriety and continued recovery. And those who let it slip are always putting themselves in grave danger. Because the only thing that's ever going to stand between us and the next drink is the loving God. And one of the things which the Big Book teaches us clearly is that we will have the problem of alcohol solved for us. And it will continue that way so long as we remain spiritually fit. Spiritual fitness is always a product of spiritual growth, not spiritually standing still. And Bill is right about this. When we look at prayer and meditation, we need to look at these two tools as utterly essential. If you don't know how to meditate, or you've been stalling around about meditating, please, don't worry about running off to an ashram. You don't have to have anybody's big CD player that has all this wonderful electronic music, or some yoho in there guiding your meditation so that you get to be regressed to your childhood so you can forgive your father, or that stuff. Or that you're going to blow your troubles into a balloon and watch them float out the window. Doesn't require incense, doesn't require symbols, doesn't require anybody in a saffron robe. You know what it requires? A willingness to listen to God. That's all required. If you went to your best friend and you asked your best friend a question, very important question, to which you really wanted an answer, and your best friend knows it's serious and is thinking about it before answering, and you turn your back and you walk away and you don't listen for the answer, wouldn't your best friend think you were nuts? Why in the world would you ask that question if you weren't willing to wait for the answer? And that's what we do. We pray, we ask God for all kinds of stuff, and we run off. We don't listen. If you think of meditation as listening to God, ask Him a question in prayer and wait for the answer. It'll also be a time of surrender, because you will find God in the now, and we get to surrender all our troubles to Him at the same time we're meditating. There's nothing fearsome, nothing metaphysical, nothing esoteric. It's very simple. Stop, shut up, get quiet, and listen. If you're not doing that, try it tomorrow for 5 minutes. You'll be amazed what will happen. If you would like to see what it feels like to do this in a group with all the power that a group generates, join us on Linda's Beach, the meeting on Linda's Beach, tomorrow at 7 o'clock. With the waves breaking in the background, we've got God's temple there, and it's beautiful, and a wonderful group of people. But nevertheless, if it's tomorrow morning and you're thinking about this, and you're thinking the 11th step is something you really need to begin to do, and take it seriously and do it every day, say your prayers and then get quiet for 5 minutes and let God come in. Let your spirit soar with the angels. You can do it. And maybe at first it's a little bit unhandy, a little bit cumbersome, but it gets easier and easier as you go along. Pretty soon you're going to be hearing God most of the time. Big Book tells us that most of the time we will be able to depend upon the inspiration that we receive, and it says we come to rely upon it. But how in the world are we going to be inspired if we're not willing to open our hearts and minds up and listen to God? So that's what it's talking about here. Do the 11th step. It's critical to continued recovery. It's critical to continued spiritual growth, and it is a duty we owe to God anyway. If we're sincere and we believe that we want to do His bidding, to do His work well, we better be willing to sit down and listen to find out what He wants us to do. That's enough for me. This is your time to share. In this meeting, we don't have any big rules or anything. And if you would like to share, just speak up. Share as often as you want. We don't care about that either. Share as long as you want. We don't care about that. But we do want everybody to have the opportunity to put in their 2 cents worth on this. Here's the deal. Share if the Spirit moves you. And don't worry about any protocols. Who's going to be first?
My name is Howie. I'm an alcoholic. Boy, did I just get a lesson. I got a lesson of what I was not doing, what I stopped doing 16 months ago. I stopped writing the 11th-step inventory, which I did for some years before that, and I truly was happy, joyous, and free. And then something happened. I went into a very deep depression, a very deep one, where I saw the word suicide on my forehead. but obviously I didn't act upon anything. And the one thing I did not stop doing, I stopped going to meetings, I stopped sponsoring people, but I never stopped praying. And I literally was in bed probably 18, 19 hours a day. And Mr. Jim B. over here told me quite some time ago, well, I believe I'm right, and I got somebody alongside of me that will correct me if I'm wrong, that depression is a form of fear unless there's a chemical imbalance. And what I needed to do was write about all of my fears, write them all down, and then pray upon each one to have God remove them, and then talk to another person about them. But my heart tells me right now that I did write about all of my fears, and I did ask God to remove them, but I never spoke to another human being about them because I didn't have the faith that it would work, and the fear that if it did not work, if I did exactly what I was told to do, then what? Now I realize what a damn fool I was. I had the knowledge, I had the wisdom of a dear friend to guide me, but I lost my faith. And the fear of it not working, I was saving one bullet in the chamber just in case. It's not literally the gun, but why do it in case it doesn't work? So I've learned tonight, and I heard tonight very loud and clearly. Tonight I'm going to go home, and I do have notebooks. I have been writing lately, and I'm feeling wonderful. And about prayer, I think somebody said the two most important things about prayer is to start and then continue. And it's the same with my meditation. To start and continue. In that written 11-step inventory, God, it's so simple. 5-10 minutes of my time each night to write it down. Today is the 27th of September in the year 2003. I'm going to write that date on my paper tonight and then add some words under it. Thank you.
Thank you, Howie. My dear friend Nancy here keeps her notebook. She's been working with me for about 3 years now. And that's what she does. Everything that's going on is right here.
Discipline.
And it works, doesn't it, Nance?
Yes.
Just do a little writing. Let me tell you something, guys. The more you write, the better you feel.
Did you sing that?
We make a little song out of it. The more you write, the better you feel. We get it out of our head and get it down on paper, and then we can deal with it. Okay, who's next now?
Does it matter who it is? We have to go around the circle.
No, the Spirit moves you. This is Spirit moves you meeting. Go ahead, Diane.
Hi, I'm Diane. I'm an alcoholic addict.
Hi, Diane.
I don't know how this goes because it's the first time I've been at this meeting, but I just want to say last night I wrote down a lot of things about some personal feelings and experiences. And I woke up today and I felt a lot better because at least writing it down, I know that I was being true to myself, and that because I have such a busy life in my recovery, I'm going to be 6 months clean and sober on Tuesday, and I'm excited about that. I'm grateful for just today, but that my life has changed all for the better, more than I ever could imagine. And I let someone get close to me, and I realized that it's all in God's hands, but that I was getting too much pressure. And I was just glad that last night, because I wanted to actually use this yesterday, and I now really feel like that. I was really beating myself up, and I was really upset and hurt and confused and frustrated. And I prayed to God about it and asked to take that feeling away. So when Howie just shared about that, it kind of touched home for me. And because of a new full-time job and being busy with the fellowship and trying to have a relationship too, which I had too much pressure from that, I got too busy and I lost sight of spending more time in doing the work, the step work. I have a sponsor and go to a lot of meetings, but I don't do the reading and stuff like that like I should. And I kind of fell away from my journaling on a daily basis. And I just want to say that I'm grateful to be here, and I'm really excited about being at these two meetings tonight, but also about that I woke up today with just a total different outlook, and I didn't beat myself up like last time. I was pretty sad and desperate and hurt. And I knew that when I prayed to God that I know He listened to me, and that it just makes me continue to work harder with myself and with God and this fellowship. And every day my world gets brighter because I'm clean and sober. So thanks for letting me share and being a part of this group.
Thanks,
Well, thank you, Diane. Who's next? There we go.
My name's Jessica. I'm an alcoholic. For me, 7-Eleven is very, very, like you said, essential to my recovery. After I finished my steps with my sponsor, I was diligently, this was only like probably about 3 months ago, maybe even 2, and for the first, 2-3 weeks, I was writing every night. I was meditating. And I was feeling really, really, really good. And then I don't know. I stopped. I guess it's whatever. I stopped for about 4 days, I think, and I was feeling like crap, and I didn't know why. And I talked to my sponsor. She said, "Have you been writing every night?"
Mm-hmm.
I said, "No." I think about it real quick and then go to bed. I have the questions on page 86 pretty much in my head, all the time. And so I started writing again immediately that night, and I talked to her on the phone about like all the fears I was having, and I was feeling really, really bad. For a good 2 weeks, and gradually after I started writing again, I started to feel better. And after I started meditating longer, and I started to feel better too, I started to get more answers. And it was really good. It just really helped me a lot. After that, I went off and bought the Chubb, it's called, and so I can like do a spot check if I have time, like if fears pop up, or if any thoughts, just so I can go back and refer to it and get it out on paper. And it really helps. Like when I notice, when I don't do it, I do have different feelings, and especially like the meditation. That is like such a big part of my recovery today. I don't know, maybe because I spent so long in my 4th step that I was writing every day, and then when I was done, I was like, what do I do now, Okay, good, we have an 11th step to do the rest of my life. But it really is a very, very, like you said, essential step in my recovery today, to keep self-examining, looking at myself all the time. I had a long one last night, certain things, but it's dealt with, and I felt fine afterwards, after. It's just really amazing how this step works for me. And for everybody else, and like you said, when usually when people aren't feeling too good, it's probably that step and others they're lacking, but especially like the meditation aspect of it. And some people had different views on writing it or not. I've heard people say, I don't write it, but that's the way my sponsor taught me, and that's the way that I like to do it. So it's there in front of me. I can refer back to it. I don't know. Just took some good notes from what you said, and thanks as always, Jim.
Thank you, dear.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Who's next?
Yeah, I'm still Howie. I'm an alcoholic still, and I have this spiritual need to say this. When I went through the steps with my sponsor, at the time, and I got finished. I said, what do I do now? Do I call? What do I do? And he said, what, are you kidding? As long as you maintain conscious contact with God, you don't need me. And that to me was an eye-opener in itself too, because I hear people with 15, 20 years of sobriety still talking about their sponsor. And I've learned too along the way that good sponsorship is taking people through the steps and then weaning them off. And my dependency today is upon God and not another human being. I think I read in the big book somewhere that if I depend upon another human being, I'm sure to be disappointed. Thank you.
Yeah, who's next?
I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. Remember the life of Long Jay.
Hi,
Jay. I heard a lot of good things here tonight. It's been a long time since I've been to this particular meeting.
Yeah, we know. We were going to send the police after you.
But I'm glad I came back here tonight. My sponsor told me when I first went through the steps the first time, that when we got to 11th step, that he said prayer is talking to God, and meditation is listening to God talk back to you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay? And it's basically just that simple. But yes, it's so important. And also, I mean, it's certainly been a big help to me in my sobriety. But equally as important, another one of the steps that I found for me that we do on a daily basis is 12 step. And I remember when I first got sober, I spent at least the first 2 weeks with my sponsor doing nothing but going out on 12 step boards all over the place. I bet you we went to at least 25 12 step boards in the first 2 weeks. And it was rather interesting. It's not one of them got sober. Okay, not one. And I said to him afterwards, I said, what the hell are we wasting our time with? And he looked at me and he smiled and said, you didn't get drunk, did you? Okay. Today I do a lot of 12-step work in a different way. Okay? And I find it the most rewarding part of my sobriety. I think Jim knows. I do a lot of work with the institution committee. And I take, in the last 4.5, 5 years, right here in Broward County, I'm taking 2 meetings a week into detox, and usually speaking at the higher level. And you know, I try to carry the message, but I can tell you when I walk away from there, I don't know if anybody else got the message, but I sure did. And I feel like the meaning of each and every time I do that. And I pray that somebody did get the message. And it's such a rewarding thing when I go to meetings all over town. I walk into a clubhouse somewhere, somebody will come running up to me who I don't remember, but they remember me from IRT or detox. I think I am definitely blessed. I know that I'm blessed, and I think each and every one of us in this room is also blessed. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
I agree with that. Who's next?
My name is Linda. I'm an alcoholic.
Oh,
I like this topic. Every night when I do the 11th step, the 10 questions I ask is, was I kind and loving to all? Did I keep anything from somebody? Do I owe an apology? Did I think about others? Was I honest? Was I full of fear? And every night when I answer these 10 questions, it's usually I don't have any problems when I'm done at the end of the night. But tonight is going to be one of the first times where I'm going to put down that yes, I wasn't kind and loving to all, because that was one of the questions. And do I owe an apology? I'm finding myself, I usually, now that I'm doing the 11th step every night, when things happen during the day, I fix it before I get to my 11th step.
of course. That's the whole point.
So I took care of the apology thing before the meeting tonight. I made a phone call. I'm sorry, but I'm finding myself, if I'm close and I'm building a new relationship in my life, and I'm finding myself apologizing a lot more. It's kind of annoying. I'd rather just, I find myself also distracted, and then I get upset. And this is really important to me. This is my life today. recovery comes first before anything. It's brought me a lot of joy. It's brought me people in my life that I sponsor that help me just as much. It's brought me a really close, beautiful, wonderful relationship with God, and that the meditation part where all I have to do is pray and listen. I've gone into that spiritual plane, but I'm finding this past few days, I'm finding it that I took a step back, and I'm really grateful that I've accumulated all this work and recovery that I know what I need to do. And, because it is life and death. Earlier in the meeting, you shared about somebody jumping off the building. I mean, that's how serious this is. So I'm grateful I'm here. Thanks.
Thank you, Linda. Yes, John?
John Alcohol.
Johnny.
Really, I love those major meetings together. I'm making a half year when I think it's sober and I like your reading. I had a day yesterday. I was listening to the first girl Sharon. I had a day yesterday. I have a hard time making it past Fridays because Fridays I get checks and they don't use. And the bottom line is that I got my check yesterday and I started praying as soon as I got that check. The bottom line is I'm sitting here today and I'm starting to pray. And the bottom line is that it has more to do with God than it has to do with me. Because people just started dropping out of the air in my life yesterday. When I asked God to help me, next thing you know, there was a guy who showed up at my office that wasn't supposed to be there. They had asked him to come down to Fort Lauderdale to the Allendale office and to manage there yesterday. So go figure. This guy's like 3 years sober in the program, so both he ends up showing up. And I got on the phone with my sponsor, and I did the things that I needed to do. Something when I woke up this morning, it was a wonderful feeling because I had that feeling of impending doom. I didn't stay up all night. I didn't run around Biscayne Boulevard, 79th Street, trying to pay me on my next beer and my next day. And I woke up with some dignity and some respect for myself. I was able to come here this morning and get a board meeting, be able to get your meeting tonight. I was just with my sponsor and I was able to spend, time with somebody. And something, honestly, in my heart of hearts, I don't ever want to go back to where I was. At the end, this time around, at the end, I was under a bridge. I had body lights from the top of my head to my fucking feet there. And I had gone from, people that know me for any length of time, went from, somebody that was an achiever with all these things to being under a bridge with the body lights. God in His infinite wisdom stopped leaving a job one day, and I was stopped by the cops, and I was in a stolen car, and car didn't come up stolen, but I came up with a 2-year-old warrant, 2.5-year-old warrant. They said, listen, you're coming with us, and they let the girl drive away with the car. Because it wasn't her time, she split, and I went to jail. But something that jail stay gave me 30 days to A, get deliced, B, start looking at where my addiction brought me, where my alcoholism brought me. And there's no fight. No fight. When I pick up one, I can't stop. And that's what I have to cease to look at. When I pick up one, I have to stop, no matter what. There ain't nobody out there that can stop me. Leaving money with people, all the things that I've tried to do, all the remedies that I've tried to do to work. Something I've had people come up to me and say, what are you going to do different this time? And the only thing I can tell you is that I know that there's a design program in this fellowship, and I got a sponsor, I got a group, I'm working with my sponsor, and I'm doing it better every day. I'm pouring my ass off. And the bottom line is that that's what's going to hold is the difference. That's the difference I got to use, so that's what I'm doing. And something? the people that, and here's the amazing part. Cream rises to the top. And I believe that in Alcoholics Anonymous, cream rises to the top because in my blackest hours out there, God put in my life Alcoholics Anonymous members that truly loved me for me. And didn't down me, didn't treat me like shit, didn't treat it as a moral issue, they treated it as a disease. And they lifted me up even though I was in the toilet. And they know who they are. And that's why I owe them. I owe that same thing to this guy coming in. Newer people. That's it, I appreciate it.
Thanks, John.
Hey, thanks, John, we're glad you're here tonight.
Thanks, John.
Who's next?
Tom, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Tom.
I don't have a lot of practice on this, but it was suggested to me to start writing down what goes on in my day. I like to say that I do it every night, but I don't. But looking back at it, the days that I do it, it gives me 5 or 10 minutes before I go to bed, and I see feelings that I didn't even realize what they were, and situations that I was in, or just thoughts that I never realized what I was feeling to the end of the day, because my head gets going so fast, I go to the next thing. I never really processed anything or dealt with it. And for me, it's a nice experience, and I got to put more practice into doing it. It definitely calms me down at the end of the day. It's a nice way to go to bed. I know what happened that day. Most nights I go to bed and I don't know what I did. Things get so crazy. We'll pass.
Hey, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, John.
Who's next?
My name's Tom, I'm Paul.
Hey, Tom.
And I do 10-step. I take my inventory a lot. And I know I'm supposed to, go to 11-step, and I've been, I've always done this. And sometimes I've done the 11-step, I've done writing it out, I haven't done it continuously for a few years. But when I consciously think that, no, I'll just do it later, I am taking my will back, and I'm starting to manage my life. And it's scary. I put myself in so much pain. I don't know why I do that. I want to do it. I know I'm supposed to do it. I know it would help me do it. I feel a lot better. But I want to manage my life so I can do it later. And I'm feeling all right now. I feel a whole lot better. I can. If I ask God for the power to do it, I can do it. If I'm supposed to do it the way the big book says to do it, then I'm just guessing. I know I'm supposed to do it. Sponsor tells me to do it. I got 14 years sobriety next month. And I can see how people can go back out when they stop working their steps. I've seen my further you are away from your last drunk, the closer you are your next, and I completely understand that. The last couple of days, actually the last year, I just want to manage my life because I think I can do better. And my past shows me I can't. My present tells me I can't do it. Okay.
Thank you, Tommy. Who's next?
Hi, my name's Nancy, and I am a drug addict. I'm an alcoholic. I haven't shared in a long time, and I don't know, the Spirit moved me to share. I had a little bit of time in the program, and I have a super sponsor, and I was taught these steps, and I lived these steps for quite a while, you know, and I had a chance to sponsor others too and take them through the steps. And the best feeling in the world. I also know, you know, what happens when you stop working your first 11 steps. I mean, I ended up going back out after having time, after I stopped doing my inventory. Just slowly just creeps up on you, and just one day it just gets you. And for me, as I learned, I mean, I can't let up at all. I just can't let up. I can't miss a day. I mean, say I did miss some days, I mean, it's going to be that one day that it's going to get me again. You know? I don't know, I guess what you call it, I guess I'm a periodic, but when I go hard. I go bad. Get close to death, and it's not good. But I know these steps work, and I know as long as I do the work, I'm fine. But if I let up, then it's just almost, for me, it's like committing suicide, I guess. I don't know. That's all I've got. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Nance. Who's next?